4,
100%
yes.
guaranteed for top 4. Which is
yeah,
great.
we haven't
That's a
run
winner
the math,
bracket start. That's the number one step for every team, is to start in the winner bracket. And that's why, for me, this matchup is really important as well, because it's a huge difference for these two teams in this particular matchup, whether they get a draw or a 2-0. Not because it's not important in other matchups. When it's two top teams that meet each other, getting a 2-0 gets you a really big head start in closing in on that top 4.
That is true.
So I would definitely say this is the kind of game where you don't start off easy in the group stage here. You're playing a juggernaut. You bring your best.
For some reason, I agree with Winter that I think it's going to be a 2-0 one way or the other. I think it's like 50-50 going in, but I think that one of these teams is like probably considerably stronger than the other, but I just don't know which. And it's for some reason I don't think it's going to be a split.
Okay, what about you, Winter? I mean, you look like you're kind of doubting yourself now that Ben's agreeing with you. It's a scary thing, I know.
It is.
Well, I still think it's very difficult to say because we do a lot of predictions based on what we see, and right now we have zero material. So
what do you think?
Fair point. Me? Well, to be very fair, I actually think we're going to see a 2-0.
You think it's 2-0?
One way or the other.
I'm definitely sticking with 1-1.
he has that cheeky grin, and he's like,
I should have said 1-1 just to make him sure.
what do you think, Will?
Was that too obvious?
I mean, just given what I've reviewed and listening to you guys just talk right now, it actually does sound a lot more than anything that whichever team wins the first game, like they're just going to feel a lot better. They're going to have more confidence in their drafting even going into game 2. And we haven't really seen that so far, right? Because we've focused a lot on how do you adapt, and we've seen teams trying to do that. But I feel like in this matchup, whoever wins is just going to go in even more confidently into the draft and game 2. So we'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
I can't wait till it's.
I think it's more up to Vici. Like Vici could be really good or just flop.
I mean, to be fair, you were the only one out of all of us who predicted the exact outcome of the wild card.
That
so
is
you
true.
Kind of
EDEC and then MVP Phoenix.
You have the foresight.
MVP my boys.
I should actually trust in your
Blind faith.
Right? Newbie luck. That's where I
actually can't resist. You just have to do it.
All right. Well, Empire versus Vici. They're all wrapping up. The players look pretty happy and ready to get into games. So I'm sure just going through a couple last-minute checks, making sure they have all of their stuff set up. Looks like the refs are double-checking before we jump into the draft. And Vici looks a little bit more solemn. Empire looks pretty happy and just excited to get into game. I mean, of course, these guys, at this point here, we're at, a little past 6 p.m. on Pacific time in Seattle. So they've been up for a little bit. Even if you wake up later for your matches, you've had a couple meals for sure. And you've been most likely watching the other games. Yeah, I saw Empire actually watching a couple of the last matches, getting ready for their games. So I'm sure they're pretty eager to get their first showing on TI5, show their fans what they've prepared for this next 2 weeks.
We were here a few days before the event, and of most of the teams, I don't think I saw any of these 10 players aside from Ice. And a lot of the teams I saw running around here and there. So I assume they were just practicing nonstop for the past few days.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking to our makeup artists, and of course, they don't know the players that well, so they're talking to them. Oh, how is the event so far? How's your preparation? And one of them was telling me they were very impressed because they were like, hey, so have you had a chance to meet any of your other friends, or how are you liking Seattle? And they're like, I've literally been in my room, in our practice room, practicing, and then just coming out for meals, and then practicing, and then going back to my hotel room to sleep. So, yeah, this is what it means. I mean, we heard Sumail, we heard No Tail talk about it, we've heard other players talk about it so far, saying TI is where it matters. You can win all the other tournaments, but at the end of each year, what do people remember? Oh, TI, what a great event, and who the winner was, right? The greatest games, or even if it's not the most exciting games, people will always remember the finals because that's where you deem the champion of that year. Coming in 2015, who's going to be the Dota 2 champion, the best team in the world, and you can't forget the massive prize pool, of course. So a lot on the line, and it all starts today in day 1 with the group stages. The best of 2, the point system, it's going to matter a lot, and we are finally in the drafting phase for Empire versus Vici Gaming. So we've talked a lot about it so far. We'll find out if anything we talked about really pans out, or if we're all going to be surprised. And usually that's a pleasant surprise for sure if people bring out some pocket picks.
It always surprises me when you go into a draft like this. You have prepared for this match. Okay, they're just using, maybe it's a team mentality thing that they use all their time before extra time.
Right.
Because I was like, you go into this matchup, you thought about it all day, you know you're playing, you probably know what pick order there is. How can you possibly need extra time on your first ban? And they actually just let the timer go down to exactly 0 and then they ban. So
I kind of
like
that though, using all your time except extra time to make sure that you're still talking, thinking things through.
Shows you how important this match is.
There you go. I mean, first game does matter a lot. First game of a whole tournament, Sometimes you look back on that.
No bounty hunter this game.
Ooh, and no undying either.
Queen of Pain.
Queen of Pain is open. You are correct.
I mean, giving away Shadow Fiend.
Queen of Pain,
Radiant,
yeah, Shadow Fiend Radiant.
Shadow
yes.
Fiend's true.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's a difficult position if you're Empire.
Gyro's also open.
I don't think Gyro's as high priority as those two.
Yeah,
Oh,
if,
right.
you,
I
if
mean-
you have those, you probably want to grab. I think Queen would be the most flexible among the three. I'd say, like, you can lane the Queen, safe lane, solo mid, off lane. So yeah, Queen is the most flexible of all the three.
I think what they might be considering is if they pick any of the two others, like Shadow Fiend Gyro, if you were to pick 2 out of 3, that might be the weakest duo, because Quap works better together with the two
Yeah.
others.
Right.
So maybe grabbing Quap will make Vici not pick both Shadow
Oh.
Fiend Gyro, and they can grab the other one. There we go.
Okay.
So now they
Rubik
could
and
get
Gyro.
SFs.
Okay,
Okay.
Rubik Gyro. I mean,
So they have
Classic
the,
Vici Gaming early pick Rubik.
yeah, it's yeah. Look, who's drafting? Yeah, F1 is drafting again, so expected. He's picking his own trump card first.
all right.
Are they
so-
going to pick a heavy support roaming duo? Like
when
Rubik
you
plus
talk
Lina?
about when you talk about Vici Gaming, it's always like Rubik Lina, Rubik plus one. Like, it used to be Rubik Lina or Rubik Lash, but obviously now you can't do Lash.
Rubik Chen, I suppose.
That's not happening anymore.
But yeah, there
Vici
aren't,
played Lash
there
before, it
aren't
was
that
cool.
many options, like aside from Lina.
True.
Not versus the Queen of Pain. that is.
Right.
Mirana?
There's still the classic Rubik plus Chen, but it's
Yeah.
long gone.
Well, Dazzle's always been pretty prominent so far in this first day and a half here. Broodmother, second phase, ban. There you go. That's out of the question.
Good.
Does Empire have to ban Shadow Fiend in the next ban?
I don't think so. It
I
depends
mean,
on how.
but if you give like Shadow Fiend and Gyro to the opponent, it's a lot of pressure because those two together as cores, they are very strong late game, and it might get too difficult to cope if you can't end the game early. And looking at all the games today, it seems like teams have been trying really hard to finish the game, but they can't. So yeah, it could be a problem if the game drags on too long. Shadow Fiend plus Gyro, both very strong in the early game and very strong in late game as well.
All right. Well, we're still waiting on Vici, of course, to go through their ban before we find out if Empire still wants to block that out, or if they've just got different plans. Maybe they don't expect, as you mentioned earlier, if they were going to pick 2 out of the 3, SF and Gyro are not the strongest of the 3
Yeah.
combinations, so maybe they won't even pick that.
Maybe if they want to give away the SF, then they go for like a very aggressive ganking heroes, like maybe Spiritbreaker plus Quap. Then you can pressure the Shadow Fiend a lot in the early phase and hopefully get a couple of kills on him. If you want to give it away, you probably have a plan ready anyways. So
Right.
That might be one of the few solutions they have at this point.
Vici actually banned the Lina themselves, which
Yeah.
I find it a little bit interesting, because they have the good combination with it.
Yeah, that's
Empire
weird.
already have Quap.
That is very weird.
And
actually.
if they think it's going to be a Lina from Empire, they would expect it to be a Resolution Lina mid, which would force the Quap either safe
on
lane or
silent,
off lane.
yeah, on silent, or Yoki, yeah.
Oh, you just said side lane, and that made me think of Siren, which we actually haven't seen picked or banned yet.
That's
that was
true.
the missing piece from the first phase. Naga Siren is actually still available.
I think he's really good versus Tussin and Dying. Both of them are out of the pool, so it's not as big
That's
of a
true.
deal. I feel like she's best against those two as like the hottest picks.
She is very good with Gyro.
Very good with Dazzle.
Great
You
setup.
know, very good with Dazzle as well.
Okay, yeah, very good. So very good on both teams so far. I guess we'll find out who's more worried, or if maybe neither team is worried at all about the Siren.
I mean, she's just very good in general.
Yeah.
And I mean, but you know, if you want like a more aggressive support, like if they want to run like a Dark Seer Sand King combo, let's say, like that's something that really limits you if you need some damage.
Feels
output.
like they're banning themselves out.
Yeah,
you
what
know?
do you make
They're
of this
banning Lina
SF
and
ban?
banning Shadow Fiend. It's very unusual. Not sure why, but
I mean, was it ever going to be a big concern that Empire tries to secure
it's.
both?
I mean, banning the Shadow Fiend as well has. That's like one thing that comes to my mind is they have Dazzle and they're on the dire side. So you probably don't. They probably didn't want them to have easy access to Roshan. But here we go. Here's the IO pick that Sin was talking about during the draft.
1 for 2. Just need a next game as well.
Yeah.
And I was right today about something. I actually don't
He
know what my
wasn't sure.
prediction score
He
is
wasn't
today.
sure whether it was going to come in the first phase or it was going to come in the second
Right.
phase. But here we go. So Empire is going to be the first team to snag it up, and there are a lot of pairings that could go well with the IO right now. That's Tiny is the classic one.
Are we going to
Bristle's
see the
fine, too.
Bristle?
Yeah, Bristle is fine as well.
Both these are.
I mean, there's Dazzle. Dazzle IO plus Bristle. That guy's never gonna die.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's why. That's why they banned Lina.
Okay, so they are actually going to try and push, like Dragon Knight and Gyro, like push very heavily early with the ultimate from Dragon Knight, and okay, that's the tiny.
Okay. Well,
I'm guessing. So the reason this is a little bit weird, so they banned two heroes that lane really well against Dragon Knight in Shadow Fiend and Lina, but they're still a co-op. But maybe they just feel more confident putting Dragon Knight against Queen of Pain than those two.
I think Dragon Knight can go alright with Queen of Pain with the CM aura, and with the recent introduction of damage reduction with the breath,
Yes.
he can actually deal with Queen of Pain much better now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think their supports are well equipped to deal with it.
Yeah,
anyway.
but at the same time, I feel it might actually not be a Queen of Pain in middle lane. It might be a IO Tiny and the co-op will be on safe lane, you know. So Dragon Knight might have a lot of trouble if that happens.
I mean, Ben, how are you feeling about Vichi's draft? Because you were talking about the Dragon Knight being employed for an earlier push strategy.
I mean, for Empire, I think their draft is just simply a lot better. They didn't have to. They don't even have to worry about the Wyvern pretty much because core Rubik and Crystal Maiden is pretty much non-existent. So they got away with the free IO pick with banning out two heroes that are also like pretty decent versus their lineup. So in effect, they got like more bans than they really have right now.
You don't
And
think offlane Wyvern is a thing for Vici? If they wanted to.
I don't think it would do well at all versus Queen of Pain, and I think they would pretty much win two.
Yeah, if
lanes
they're
on the spot.
expecting it to be cool.
Right. And like their supports, I think, are ill-equipped to deal with the Tiny Wisp. And you want like a Disruptor, a Winter Wyvern, maybe a Tusk or heavy AOE. Like Gyrocopter is decent, but Shadow Fiend with a mech is also pretty good at dealing with it. And I just don't think they have too many solutions for it right now.
I think they need something to deal with reload.
They need initiating hero. Tide could have been nice, but
And Empire reading that right away and banning the Tide.
Clock's in.
This is like one of the. It's like there's not much choice left.